infrastructure, we are going to cover this IP services like NTP, NatPat, HSRP, VRP already covered. Then we'll try to discuss the multicast and all. So we'll cover everything. No worry for that. So let's start something that called automation. So that is a brand new topic and like hot kick in the market. Everyone talking about the automation, some programming language, and that's why Cisco introduced a certification that Cisco DevNet, where we going to learn more about the programming language. So if you are looking in your career in the more programming, and that is, I can say this is the future of the network engineer. So till now we are running the things on the basis of the CLI. We are doing the troubleshooting based on the protocols. But now in future, network is just limited to just routing, switching, security, and some based on the protocol level troubleshooting. You also need to know the automation language, like how to automate the things, how the different language like Python, JSONs, that different language is or Ansible that is going to be talked to the devices, and how based on that automation language how we can perform different network requirement. So that we call like whenever we are going to do our intent-based networking. So what do means intent-based networking? That means what I wish. Intent means what I wish to do. So whatever I want to do, I can play with my network. So that is intent-based networking. So that nowadays requirement we are talking about the networking, that is based on my intent, what actually I want. And if I want to do this, I can do. If I want to do that, I can do. But earlier it was not possible because that network was not that much intelligence that can follow the human intent. And based on that human intent, they can do some kind of the output. But nowadays, network is based on the programmable. They understand the programming language. They know how to, they do know the machine learning. And based on that programming language and machine learning, they can understand what actually human want. That doesn't mean like we network automatically come to know what actually human want, but we have to do something, and we try to tell in the machine language, hey, I want to do this. You want to give me output for that particular requirement. If you give some kind of the criteria and parameter, that is going to definitely give you the outputs. This is like we call say intent-based networking. So now today, that is a very popular concept that is known as the Python. So we are going to understand about the Python. We are going to understand about the JSON, what is the JavaScript object notation, and Python is the programming language, and what is JavaScript object notation, what that means, why it is going to be used in network devices. That also we are going to understand. And also we are going to talk more about the REST APIs. So nowadays everyone is talking about the REST API, and that is like very popular APIs. And now people are talking about this APIs, that is application programmable interface, that also we are going to cover. And that they having like two kind of the functions, like in REST API we known as the protocol that use the RESTCon. Another protocol we having that is a NetCon, that is also part of the API. But REST is a very popular. NetConf is also used between the devices to just communicate and exchange the communication, and whatever you want, you can do the devices configuration. So let's just suppose you are running the SD-WAN and you having the controller sitting on the top, and you want to communicate with the devices, that is a router, or they are the VH router, CH router. So they use the protocol that is the NetCon protocol. And if you want to do some configuration, you want to push on the router, that is going to be pushed on devices. And it is used the data modeling, that is upon the Yang plus XML, that use the port data modeling. And then inside of this protocol, this data modeling is going to be inserted to the router, which is router is going to understand. And based on that, inputs going to be pushed from the vManager controller, that is going to be applied on the devices. So these are the one way that controller talk to the devices by using a NetCom protocol. Now we having a RESTCon protocol also nowadays. So by this, let's say suppose I'm sitting on somewhere in the internet, I'm using some third-party application tool, but I want to connect my network. So by using this RESTCon protocol, REST API, we can communicate with devices. So we'll talk more about detail in this lecture. but let's start from basic, that is known as the Python. So we'll discuss why we need a Python, why it's very important, Python nowadays, how the network devices is going to be used this Python. Is it actually going to use by the devices, Python language in the devices? I'll show you how the Python can be run in the router switches, that is possible, and how from the Python we can connect the devices. Let's say suppose I have a Python, I can connect the devices using the Python as well. So that is a like very basic in core. It's a very basic, like just we have to interpret basic Python component in a script. Like we are just doing the start. So no need to worry. Might be if you are learning the first time the programming language, that it is not going to be digest you. But what I'll try to tell it, I'll go from very basics. At least you know how to start with the Python. So that is the motive. At least you know about the Python tools, Python softwares, how the Python script can be compiled, how it can be run, how Python can be connected to the devices, real devices I can show you, real-time devices, and how we can do different operations on the real devices. So that I'm going to try to demonstrate in today's session. Then we'll further move one by one for the other topics. Okay. So let's start with the Python. So as I mentioned, Python is like one of the programming language. So if you start the Python, I would recommend, I have one book that name is known as the, let me show you. This book is Learn Python in One Day. So this is the book. I have a PDF copy I can share with you guys. And this is the book. It's claiming that you can learn Python in one day. And somehow I feel it is true. Because at least in one day, if you are like you are dedicated to start learning this book, or you just start building your concept about Python, so this is the best book to start your Python journey. Okay, and this is a quite popular book, and for beginner I highly recommend you guys go and learn this book. So what I'll do after this session, I'll share this book, and that can be uploaded to your learning portals, and then you guys start doing some learning from this book. So I'll refer this book also, so you come to know at least what inside of this book and how basically you can learn and what section you having in this book. So I'm just going to start. Before starting the Python, what exactly we have to need. So there are some table of contents that is like what inside of the book. But once we start the Python, so what is a Python? So that is the I mentioned that is like we having a C++, C language, some kind of the old language still they are running. Similarly, it's a programming language. Okay, and like it is like very easy to understand. Like C and C++ is quite complex, but Python is very easy to understand. But based on the programming language, you know, we have to put some input, and then based on the inputs, different of the values, different type of the our conditions, they're going to give some outputs. So that is called the programming language. So the same thing we are going to do in the Python as well, like what we have done C and C++, might you guys have learned in the engineering or somewhere in the your career, whatever you have done in the past during your schooling or colleges study. So that basically we are going to like the same reference we are going to inherit here, and by the help of that reference, Python is also going to build some kind of the condition. Based on that conditions, we are going to get some output. So that is about the Python. That is one of the programming language. And before starting the Python, you have to install one software. Then you have to download this software. So there is a one link. So if I click on that link, so probably I'll get this, link. Or if you not want to do this from here, you just simply go on Google and you can just write Python download. Okay. So once you do that, you'll see that latest version of Python you can found, and this is the latest version, and that you can download your machine. So for Windows, Mac OS, whatever you have, you can just download it. And after downloading, you just have to install it. So once installed, in my PC already it is downloaded and installed. So no need to worry, just you have to, let me show you, you just have to download it. It is a very small software, like 26 MB. Once you download, you just have to, I have already downloaded. So you just need to download in your PC, but you have to check like your PC is a 64-bit installation required, 32-bit installation required. So you can check that also. How can we check that? That is also possible. So you just have to go in your, where I can go, my computer, where it is. Let me show you guys. So system, right? Where is system? Okay, this one. Okay, so you can see that here. Thanks for helping me. It is written somewhere. It is 64. Yeah, you can see system type is 64-bit operating system or 32-bit operating system. So if you have 64-bit operating system, probably you can down for the 64, select while downloading. Is 32, you have to select 32. So you can check in this way while downloading. Once it is going to be download, you just have to go in search bar. You have to type idle. So one software starts showing in your system, and that is the Python. It is going to be installed. So this way, you'll find some Python is going to be installed. So this is the one way. After installation, your Python starts showing. Now, once your Python is installed, if you go on the command line and you just type a Python here, so it will also show is there Python is installed your system or not. So you can see it is showing my PC, this Python version is already installed. If you run in your PC, if Python is not installed, if you write this command, probably not work. Okay. So this is how you can check Python is installed in PC or not. Now, another way, if you don't want to use the command line, you just have to go in this, start menu and just click the right click and just you have to go here, window PowerShell. So if you go there, that also here, you just have to, type Python. And here you probably see the colorful window here in black and white only. And here you can see, again, it is showing the same thing. So now this is the very first step to start with the Python. So how basically check the Python it is installed or not. And once you enter the Python mode, how you can go out from the Python mode. So going to out from Python mode, you have to just write two commands you can use. Just one is the quit and just close this bracket, open and close this bracket. Then again, you back in the normal mode where you are. Okay. So this is the way. Now another way we have to, if I go in the Python mode, I can write exit and then again the same thing. Then again, I come back in the my user directory where I was earlier before the Python directory. Same thing. If I go here, I can type the exit or quit and I just run this command. I can back in this mode. So this is how first step I can start with the Python. So Python need to be installed on your PC. By installing, you just have to go on the download this Python. And after downloading, you just have to install. And after installing, just you have to check and verify the Python by this two way, either the window PowerShell or you can verify the command line that is correctly installed or not. And if it is installed, you just have to go in search menu. I just have to type what I typed earlier. And if you just open this, probably you find this kind of the Python idle shell window. So hope this is clear to everyone what I'm trying to say. So this is the first step you have to do. Now, the second step, let's say suppose I want to start with the Python, I want to do something. So how can I write the program in the Python? So that is the main concept. How can I write the program in the Python and how that is going to be help in my real time, like networking field or automation field. So let's first understand what Python can do. So Python is very popular. And let me show you guys, even we having like application programming language here, and we'll discuss more later. And see here, basic Python, we can see here, we having the Python detail also. You can refer from book also. You can read this all from books and every detail is there, what I'll go to show. So the first step, again, I'm going my CMD. And if I'm going in the Python mode, okay, so let's see the power of the Python. If I'm going in the Python, now I'm in the Python. There is two of the Python. Let me just open a side by side. So two things I'm doing in the Python. Either I can do my CLI or I can do directly from the Python software. So if I write here 3 plus 7, just press enter. See, I just put two variables. I just put plus. It is going to give me the exact output what is correct as a calculator. Okay, so it is working like a calculator. So Python is also good calculator. It know each and everything. All function know what calculator do. If I write here again on the same thing, 4 plus 6, see, it is giving the same value. If I write 4 plus 9, it is giving a 13. So you can see how beautiful calculator it is. If I want to do, let's say suppose 4 multiply by 5, see, it can do 20. Okay, if I'm trying to say 23 minus 10, see, it is doing a subtractions multiplication. If I want to do 20 or divide by 5, see, it's not divided by, its percentage. So let's say suppose this one, see, it is giving the value like the 4. If I want to do like 4 into 2, so it is going to give value 4 square. See, it is giving the 4 square because I put it 2 times of the asterisk. So this is understanding as a square. So this is the kind of the software that is basically Python understand, and it help to do the calculation as well. So this is a very, very basic things. You can start doing the calculation after installing those, your software. Now moving to some write a program. How can I write a program in a Python? So there is two things. We can directly write a program from this my window or this my software. But the only thing while writing a program on this window and CMD stuff, what I'm doing right now, it is a line by. So one line I need to write. After lining the one line, again it is going to be another line. So if you're having a very big program, let's say suppose you're having a 100-line program. So it is not good to write a line by line program by here. So if we want to do some quick kind of the program writing, you can write from here. Like suppose I want to write a very quick program, like that is the very first program, like print, and I'll just want to print hello world. And just I have to follow this syntax. I'll tell you more about that. And I'll see, this is my first program. I just write, hey, I just want to print hello world, and see how beautifully it's print. So this is my first program. I've become a programmer because I write one program and it is working fine. And same thing, if I write this one also, I want to print one of the program that is the hello world. I can write here also. See, it is also doing the same thing. So just I'm trying to demonstrate you how we can run a program on the, once it is going to be installed on the PC, on the devices, like on the CMD cram, or we can, the Windows sales, what I show you, or by this software. Now, if I want to run the same program on the real router switch devices, how can I run this program? Can I do that? Yes, we can do that. Let me show you. So I just going to one of the sandbox, that is a DevNet, and I'll take one of the router switch from there. Probably I would recommend guys just create your account on this, free of the account, developer.cisco.com, and you just create account. You'll get the free sandbox access on this platform, and probably you can do your programming language and understanding. So what I'll do, there is a regular multiple type of the boxes. One is the like regular, always on. So what it means regular means like you have to reserve that lab when that is going to be allowed for 4 hours. Whatever lab you want to do, you can do free of cost. There is no charges, but that's for the 4 hours. But you have to do some certain VPN setup and all. You have to follow the guideline documentation, then you can do that. And there is always on boxes are there. So on that boxes, you can directly take access from your internet or your putty, and you can do whatever you want to do. So let me just take one of the box, that is the, I can take that is a Nexus box where I can run the program. So I just opening this Nexus box and see here is my host name of the box, and here's the port number on which I can do the SSH, and here the username password. So I'll just copy this box from here. After copy this box, I'll just open my putty and I'll try to open this box and see I'm on 22 port number. I'm going to just open this box. If it is reachable, it is asking the username. So I'll put the username as an admin. Sorry, this is wrong. I put it. So let me just open a duplicate entry for this box. So here is the username admin. So I'll just put admin, and the password is admin underscore 1234 exclamation mark. So I'll just put the password. See, now I am the real box of the Nexus, and I can do whatever I want. So if I want to do some show run, I can see the configuration of these boxes. See that all the configuration I can see of these boxes. And now I want to run the Python on this box. How can I run? Is it going to support a Python? Python is supportable by this box. Let's check it. So what we have to do, just you have to simply go on this, enable mode, and you just write Python. If I write here Python, I press enter. If this box is supporting Python, it is going to give which version of Python it is running. So you can see my PC is supporting the Python. Sorry, where I Python install, that Python is version is 3.10.1, and here is a 2.7.11. So this is a Python 2. Series. There is a Python 3.3, and they are having some differences as well. So no need to worry. We just have to follow on the latest version of the Python what we have, but still Nexus boxes having the old version of the Python. But we can do whatever we want to do in 3.0 on 2.7, but we having additional features on 3.0. So that's why it has been upgraded. So see, here is a Python is also running. I'm on the real-time boxes, and now I'm running the Python. So let's just try to run some similar kind of the code here. See, it is doing the same work what I was doing on my Python script. Yes, I can do. So the takeaway from this session is, from till now, if you don't have the laptop to install the Python on your machine, on your laptop, let's say suppose you have in the office laptop, and you just don't have the Python and you want to practice on the Python, you can just go free of cost sandbox available by the DevNet, and you just open that sandbox, go on the Python mode, and you just try to do Python script from here. What you can do from the actual. So for a beginner, you can do each and everything from small programming. No need to worry to install the software and all. Okay. So even you can run free of cost Python from the real devices. Even from these devices, I can bring the, interface detail, configuration detail by using the Python. So I'm sitting on the box, I'm running on the Python. By running the Python, I can build one of the script. I can call that script on this box, and I'll try to fetch. Let's say suppose I want to fetch this interface output, I can do that. So this is the beauty of the Python, and this can be done. Similarly, if I want to run my first program here also, so I want to print, let's say suppose hello world, I can print. See, it is exactly working same as it was working on my Python on the installed one. Now moving next. So I was talking, let's say suppose if I want to run a Python, there is a line by line we can run. And let's say suppose we're having the big Python program, and probably you're having a very difficult to run line by line. And it is going to be, while doing the compilation will probably be challenging for you. So for very quick program, very small program, you can run, there is no problem. But if you want to start with a very big program, then probably you have to use the text editor. Okay. So just note this word, you have to use the text editor. So what is text editor? So let me tell you. So in Python software, once you install, basically this text editor is not available on the box based on Python, or what you are running on the CMD on the Python. So this too basically doesn't have a text editors. What I was trying to show on box Python or CMD based Python. But there is two ways to do that. One way, you can directly you start with the text editor or the install Python, whatever you have, or you can use some third party open tool. Like in my PC, I have one tool installed that is known as the uh, that basically Visual Studio Code, that is also going to act as a text editor. So you can install this one, but I would suggest no need to worry for this text editor for Visual Studio Code right now, because you are starting the Python. So you can do whatever you want to do by using this software only. So just limited on this software because you are the beginner, you are doing your start. Once you are very advanced level of programmer, then you can go and start using that Visual Studio for the as a text editor and running this program. So how can I do the text editor? So let me just show you. Here is the file. You just open have to new file. Okay. So this is your text editor. Okay. So here is your actual whatever you're just going to write on this program on this text editor, it is going to be saved and compile, and once you run, the output will going to show on this right side window. So let's write one more program here. So how it can be right? So this text editor is untitled. So first what we have to do, let's suppose I want to write one program that is the same thing, print, and I just want to write hello world. So you can see here I just use an inverted comma and where I just use a single comma. So I can use single comma, inverted comma for this type of data type. I'll not discuss about data type. What is that? String, integer, float, what is data type? So just focus about this program. I'll discuss more about data. So once I did this hello world, I'll have to go and save this text editor. Okay. So I have to say it is going to be directory where this program is installed, and I have to write first my first program, my first so you have to give the extension .py, whatever you just want to write, my first program .py. So I'm just writing the first program and I'm just going to give the program as a py. So my program has been saved. You can see earlier it was untitled, now it has been saved. Once it is saved, now you can run a program. Once you run the program, probably you'll get the output here. So let me run this program. So you can go and run the module. See, your program has been run from where? My first program. You write the program here and now you get the output of the program. So anything, now you just want to write, let's suppose I want to write 3 plus 5. Let's say, suppose if I am running this one, I have to save again. Let's see what is going to give. Probably it will go give an error. See, it not understand about the second line. Okay, because in text editor you have to give some kind of format. So if I write here again print and I'll put in brackets because these are the integer value, and if I write again the program, probably my output is going to be changed. So I'm going there and I am writing here run module. See, I have a 2 answer. You can see hello world plus 8. Okay, now I just want to give the third things and I just want to give a 6 minus 2, and I again going to save this program. And if I go again run the program, see, now I have a 3 value. Now I just want to go print and I just want to give 5 into 3. I just want to run print 2 power 3. I just want to name print let's say. So now say I have write a big program and all program having a different of variables. So in first line, I'm telling print hello world. In second line, I'm trying to say, hey, just you have to add this one and give the value. In third program, I'm writing 6 minus 2. I don't know what is going to be give the answer. In third program, I'm just writing 5 into multiply by 3. In third program, I'm writing 2 to the power 3. So I don't know what is going to be value. And in third program, I just writing Pankaj Singh. I want to print. The third program, fourth program, just writing 36 divided by 8. I don't know what is the value of 36 divided by 8. And the last program saying 5 is greater than 3. Or let me say this, reverse this. 5 is less than 3. Okay, so 5 is less than 3. I don't know what is going to be given. And now I'm going to save this one. And after saying, let me just run this module. See. Now try to understand. Print hello world. Hello world, it's correct. 5 is equal to 3. It is right. 6 minus 2, it is 4 correct. 5 multiply by 3, it is 15 correct. 2 to the power 3, it is going to 8 correct. Print, Pankaj saying it is correct, it is printed. 36 divided by 8, it is giving the 4.5, that is also correct. But here 5 is less than 3. It also understand, yes, this is not correct. This is wrong. 5 is greater than 3, not less than 3. So you can see the beauty of the program. It automatically understand and it gives the false statement. Because 5 is greater than 3, not less than 3. If I change the value again here, and I say 5 is greater than 3, and again I save this program, and again write this program, you can see my program is giving it is true. So this is my first program. So you can see the power of the text editors. I can run multiple things. I can compile, I can save, I can run, and I can get one output. But doing the CLI, you have to do step by step. Okay. So hope you guys understand till here. Now, moving to the next on the books. So where is the book? Let me just open that book. I close that book. Okay, let me just open this book. So in this book, we have to understand some kind of the things. Let's say suppose there is some kind of the data type in Python. Okay, so we having a data type integer, float, string, list, tuple, and dictionary. So because this is the very basics, we have to understand about the Python. So I'm just trying to demonstrate how the Python can be run. How can we can start the fundamental of the Python, how the different type of data types we have. So if we talk about the integer, so integer is just a number, any number, like any number. It could be the positive, it could be the negative. You can see that any number that is going to be integer. So that you have to remember, any number, it is going to be integer. You can see any mobile number, any user age, any value of the number, that is going to be integer. Now the second data type is a float. Float means that is a decimal number. So if any number contain the decimal value, that is going to be floating. Okay, float value. Okay, so that it's very simple. You just have to realize what is integer. You must have learned this term in the mathematics in your college and your school. So I'm just assuming you will know that. So this float means that Python is a variable that is going to be in point, like we have to add some decimal value or point value like 1.82. So that is not exact integer number, these are the decimal number. Now the third thing is like we having a string. So what is a string? Any name is going to be a string. Any value that is written in this alphabetical form, that is going to be a string. Okay, so that is going to be a string. So for a string, the name, ABCD format, anything, it is going to be a string. Okay, so you just have to be remember. Now I'll talk about this double quote and single quote, no worry, but just I'm giving the names. Now the third is a list. So list, if something, any type of the integer, string, or like of the decimal, if they are on the square bracket, if the value is in a square bracket, that is going to be a list. And if we are going to create anything, it's not related to just an integer. It could be anything like integer, decimal, any string, any value can you put in the list. The beauty of list, you can anytime edit the list. Let's say suppose you right now you're just having a 5 value and you just want to add the 26 value also in the list, you can add it. If you want to delete any value, you can delete it also. So list refer the collection of data which normally related instead of the storing this data on the separate variable, we can store them as a list for the instance. Suppose our program needs to be stored as of the 5 user instead of storing them user 1, user 2, user 3 like this. You can just make one of the list and you can just install store that all information in one list. Okay. And once you install the list, you can easily edit that list anytime, whenever you want. Okay, so this is a list. You have to just remember that is list always going in the square bracket. Okay. The third thing, that is a tuple. That is like a tuple. Tuple is similar to list, and that is going to be this bracket. And if you using the round bracket to just creating the tuples, the only difference, if you creating this tuples, it is similar to list, but you can't modify. So let's say suppose you know that well known in 1 year we having a 12 month. So do you think you are just going to modify any month? If you are going to make anything in this round bracket and you are just going to put the value in the round bracket, that has become a tuple and that cannot be modified. And but they are similar to the list. Okay, just we're going to give the values, but only difference, we are not going to not able to modify these values. Okay, so this is about the list. Tuple, sorry. In dictionary, like if any value is going to under the curly bracket, it is going to be dictionary. Any set of the value, like we have to just key pair values. So like this is the Peter key and this is the value. So key pair value. So Peter age is 38, John age is 51, Peter is again 13. So we can put this value in this curly brackets, and curly brackets can be anytime modify, added, deleted based on your dictionary value, whatever you want. So these are the term we basically use in the dictionary and the string and the data type about the what I can say, list, tuples, and that can be used in the programming language. So let me try to give some kind of the insight. So let me just go in this again, and I want to just showcase you guys. Let's say suppose I just want to type and I just want to, sorry. Let me see, it is, sorry, it is not going to take. So let me see if I want to just keep here, I just want to 4 into 6. Okay, it is going to give a this value. I just want to check what is data type of the 4. So I just go here and type 4. So see, it is going to give the integer. So this is the 4 is an integer. Okay, now if I go for the check for the 6 as well, so it is going to be class integer, right? So it is, this is how it is going to give the integer. Now I just want to write any type of data, like let's say suppose divide 5 divided by 3. So it is going to give this value. And if I want to write, it is not going to take. So what I can do, okay, so let me just check this one. Yeah, you can see when I put this value, it is saying this particular program is float. Okay, this particular program is float. It is going to give this particular program is float. So if I just want to write first name is equal to Pankaj, this is my like one of the variable, and I want to again type what is data type of the first. So see, first name IRST and then name. See, it is showing this value, what you just enter in the first name, that is a string value. Okay, so you can see this programming is understanding what is type of the value, you are just going to use that. So similarly, let's say suppose I just want to create user name and age. This program I'm just going to write, okay, and I'm just going to write in this curly bracket. So I'm just going to use the same program what is written here, Peter 38 comma, just two variable I'm going to put, John 51, and then I'm going to just close this, okay, because I don't have variable. So I just, so probably syntax error.
So bracket is close first bracket.
Oh, sorry. I just used the wrong bracket. Okay, so you can see bracket, I use the wrong bracket. So if I'm going to create some dictionary, so I should use the curly bracket. Now I just want to check what is the data type I just put here, and I just put this value. So this is going to be give that. See, it is telling this is the dictionary because you use the bracket. I'm just going to use the same program and I just want to change the bracket only. I just want to use this bracket. See, I'm just going to use this bracket, and now is it going to take? It is not going to take. So let me just show you the another bracket. So this one, like I just want to use this program and I just want to show you. So month. You guys can refer this book and start doing some small testing anytime, whenever you feel. And I just want to use this like Jan and just close. And then we have to use the another month, that is the Fab. And then you just close this bracket. So I just use this one. Now I just want to check what is the data type of this particular I have in this particular bracket. So it will show you it is like tuple. See, so it is showing whatever data, because it understands a bracket and data format what you use in this tuple, that is going to give a tuple. Similarly, if I want to like create a user is, and that is going to be happen in the square bracket. So I just suppose I can put any number, like let us suppose 30, 40, 50. I'm not giving the value. Let's say suppose, let's see what it is going to give. So you can say, and now I am just trying to type, and I'm just going to give you the detail. What is the user age type of data? So it is saying list. So that is the same. I just wanted to showcase guys. So you can see all the data type, whatever you use, like float, integer, string, we all understand. Even the type of the data where we stored that, the dictionary, based on the tuples, based on the what I can say list, everything we can see there, and we can run a small program. Now, in addition of this, we having a two more thing. Just you guys should know that the loops. Okay, so what is the loop? So we having a two loops that basically can be used in the program. That is a very basic initial stage. So I'm just starting the terms that basically you guys should know. So we're having a loop flavor kind of two. One is the use the for loop, and one is the use the while loop. So for loop and while loop. So what is the difference between the for loop and while loops? So the basic difference is, let's say suppose if you want to run the for loops and you want to print some sequence values, like you want to print some 1 to 7 values in a program just for the sequence purpose and repeated purpose, you can do that. Well, when we use the while loops, it is going to print some set of the value or building blocks or building codes, but it based on the conditions. Like you want to define some condition, if this is 1 is greater than 3 or less than 3, I want to print 1, 2, 3 like 1, 2 till 3 values, all the which is less than or greater than 3. So that kind of condition you can just define. You can just print, but just you have to use the condition. But for loops, you just not use to any condition. So let me just tell you one of the simplest program, you guys. So I'm just going to this time use the program in my text editor, and I'll just show you how the program can be output in the second direction, second, left side up. So one of the program, I just want to give you based on the, for loops, that is the easier loop. Okay. So I'm just writing a program that is I want to print any of the value. Let's say suppose for, I'm just going to use the X in range. I just want to use 2 to 7. So this is my range. So print X. So I'll just want to, I'm just giving a like very small program, X in range 2 to 7, and just want to print the X value. So whatever the value in, like we having X to X, that is going to print. Let me just see if it's going to work, or we need to add the while as well. So it is not going to print. Let me just write the correct program. We have to use everything very carefully, else it is going to give the error. So earlier I was made a mistake. Let me try to see if it is going to save. So now you can see my program is written. So what I made a mistake, I forget to add the colon, and once you add the colon, the print is not going to start from very basic. It is going to start from the X where it is writing. So you can see I just write a simple, very simple program by using the for loops. This is the loops what I'm writing. For X in range 2 to 7, print X. So anything in range 2 to 7. So you can see what is 2 to 7 in range. In range means that is not going to exceed 2 to 7 value. So it is starting from 7, and it is going to be print till 6. So all value can be print. So this is like outputs. If I going to exceed this value like 9, and if I save this program again, and if I'm going to run this module, see, now it is going to start from the 2 to 8. So my program is running. If I decrease this value to 0, and again I save it, and now again I run this my program. So you can see it is starting from 0. Let me show you side by side, guys. So you're starting from 0 because I given the range to this one. Okay. So it is starting from 0 and not exceeding the 9 value. It is just printing all the parameters till this. Okay. Similarly, if I want to make this 99, I can make this save and run this command. This one, it can print one go all the values. See, this is so I just write one program, and after writing this program, I can get all the numbers, whatever I want to count, multiply, tables, everything I can use by doing this kind of the programs. Okay. So this is the for loops. We can play with this like using the for loops condition. Similarly, if I want to just using the like I just want to change this what I can say program. I just want to use another program that I just want to print the month is equal to, I can just use that the bracket is equal to Jan, comma, again Feb, and then again comma, then again March, then again. You see, if I'm making a mistake, it is giving the not green. It's highlighting you are doing something wrong. So let's say suppose April. Let's put this month only. Okay. and that's all. And I close this square bracket. So month is equal to, I just print this one, this one, this one. And now I am going to use for loop again. And I just want to, for month, it is going to take in and month. And now, yeah, I use the month, not month. And now I'm just going to print m. So m, we just use the reference for m is a loop. And now if I'm going to print, then the value from the, whatever I have just written here, it is going to be print. So let me first save this program, and then after going to run this program. See, so it is going to give me whatever the month I have written in this program. It is going to printing all the program details here. So this is how it is going to be happen in the programming language by using the for loops. Now the next loop we are going to test is going to be while loop. So let's say suppose in a while loop we have to put some conditions, and based on condition I want to test the while loop. So let me just give the write the program for the while loops. That is very small program, and that's for the starter. And you guys can also test such programs in your Python. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to use one of the variable where x is equal to 0. This is the value I'm just going to put. Now I'm going to write a program while x is less than 4. If x is less than 4, print x. Okay, so I'm writing a program x is equal to 0, and now the next statement I'm typing, if x is less than 4, print x and do some kind of increment in x. So I'm going to write a next statement, and just I'm writing the next statement is x plus 1. So let me just tell you guys what I'm trying to do. So I'm writing the variables, I just use x is equal to 0, and I'm using the while loop, and I'm telling till the time x is less than 4, I have to print x. But in meantime, also we have to increase the value of x plus 1. But that is not going to exceed, while printing the value of 4. It is going to print till the time it is less than of 4. So my output should be starting from 0, 1, 2, 3. But when it going to 4 hit, it is not going to accept, and it is going to print in only this value. So my variable is x. On x, I'm just adding 1 plus 1. Okay, this is my condition, but I'm printing x, and what I'm printing, till what time I'll print, till while I'll print till the time x value is less than 4. So let me just run this program and try to do that. So I already saved this program, and let me run this program. So once I run this program again here, see, it is giving the what I was explaining. So this is my program. It is starting from 0 and adding plus 1 till what it is going to add, till the time x is less than 4. So 3 is less than 4, it is going to be add. If it is going to exceed than 3, it is not going to accept the command. So this is how we can run the while. So if we want to run some, if we want to just put the condition like let's I do that, this one 4, or I just put a 3, and now I'm just going to save this program and see what is the behavior of this program. So only it is going to print a 3, and if I use the 4 again, and if I save this program, you guys can play, it is not going to print anything because the condition is not met. But if I just increase this value is 30, and now I just going to print, see, you can see how quickly it understand. And if I just add the plus 6 here, let's see how many value it is going to give. See, only 4. Till 28 is going to pick. Then after, if going to add +6 on this, it is going to be 34 value. That is not going to, print in my program. So this is the like beauty of program. You guys can run it, and different of the building blocks you can read from this book. What I am showing, everything is written. Just you have to play what I just try to show you guys in here in my programming language, how to install. Now just do the real things. How this Python is going to talk to real network devices. That could be the crazy. Okay, so let me show you guys how it is going to be happen. So
can
anything,
we give while command after x equal to x plus 6? Is it wrong or right if we give after that?
where
While
you were
command.
talking? Where?
After x equal to x plus 6. Yeah. After that.
This way?
या सर इसके नीचे डालेंगे तो फिर x plus 6 के नीचे y
Can
वाला
you
पूरे कमांड डालेंगे तो
can you tell me इसको मैं हटा दूं, इसको shall I remove this one?
yeah, and put it just below the x equal to x
Okay,
plus 6.
let me write
It
your
will work
command.
out.
Okay, let me just write your program. So now you tell me how you want. Just tell me x is equal to
X
4,
equal
right?
to 4.
4.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Right.
now next.
Now print x.
Print.
X.
Okay, x. Okay.
X equal to x plus 6.
Shall I put enter?
Sorry, sir.
Shall I put enter after this print command, or it's fine?
Yes, I enter.
Okay, then x
Equal to x plus 6.
X equal to x plus 6. Okay.
Yeah, and after that we will use y. Yeah.
While that's okay.
Whatever we write before, sir.
Okay,
While
let me just write it. So you are talking x. Let me just put 30. This one, right?
Yes.
Okay, so this I write and this one. Okay.
Hmm.
So let me just save this, and let me just run this command. So this is invalid syntax. What you are trying to write. Okay. So we having a provision, like we have to follow the sequence while writing the program, and this is the like key thing you have to remember. Whenever writing the program, you just have to follow the sequence. Something, see, when I write my program, let me just show you. So that was the very sequential thing. If I made a mistake, it is going to be wrong. So if I put a while, after putting the while, I'll just put that any variable value that is going to be less than 30. Okay, so this was my variable. And then after I put the colon, I put enter. See, print is coming after this in middle of this value where it was. And then after I put my print, and then I put my value, whatever was that I just used there. And then I put x is equal to whatever I want to x plus 6. Okay. And then I'll put here, and then I'll just going to save there and then run the command. See, it is going to print. But you are just trying to say, just you first use the variables in top and then you put the while commands. Might be it is possible, but probably what you are trying to say this time, it is not a right sequence. Okay. So probably you have to think about the right sequence. If it is possible, let me know. Also, I'll update my knowledge. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So this is how we can do different programming, small things. Let me just tell 2-3 more things. Let's say suppose just quickly for you guys. So let's say suppose I want to okay, I show you the name and all. Okay, no worries. So let me just move to the next step. That is going to be actually real things that is going to happen. So what I'll do, I'm going to use some sandbox who is going to be talk to. So let me just go there. And again, sandbox. Let me just close this. Okay. And after going this sandbox, and what I'm going to select which device, I'm going to select a device that is the sandbox NXOS. So the same device what I was using, the NXOS. So where it is. So same device, the NXOS by what I was earlier open. Okay. So you can see that this Sandbox NXOS. Now I just want to connect this device through my Python. Okay. So before connecting this device, that is going to use on port 22, and this is the username and password. Okay. So I have to write some script and program, then only it is going to be happen. Okay. So how that script is going to be happen and how the programming is going to be right, I have already prepared for something for you guys, that is a programming language to how to connect the real devices. So I have just all used there. But before going to connect any devices, what you need, that is a prerequisite. So you have to install one of the tool, that is a additional tool in the Python software, that is known as NetMiko. And this NetMiko is going to help to connect the network devices. Without NetMiko, probably you're not able to connect. If you're having another some kind of the tool, I'm not aware, but I know about the NetMiko is quite popular tool which is going to connect the devices. So how basically that NetMiko is going to be installed? After installing your Python, you have to go in this command prompt here again. And after going to command prompt, you just have to go in your directory where earlier you was. And this directory, you can use either of the command, like pip install netmiko, you can run this one, or you can run this one. So you can check either one can work for you. And if I run here, it is going to start installing the netmiko. So in my case, already it is installed. So that's why it is showing like requirement already satisfied. You can see that netmiko in this directory already installed. You can see that. But in your case, probably because you install the first time Python, so this not be installed in your devices. Okay, so you have to install NetMiko. If you're not going to install this NetMiko, probably you're not going to connect the real devices. This is the first condition. You have to install the NetMiko. After installing this NetMiko, what you have to do, you have to select any of the box, either in the sandbox or might be you having a router switch in your EVNG topology. Let me show you. So let's say suppose I have an EVNG running or my GNS is running and that is map on my NIC. Okay. And they are able to ping my CMD, whatever the router IP address I have. Okay. So if they are reachable, they are pingable from CMD, I can run a Python script on that boxes. And through the Python, I can just play whatever I want. So the first requirement is network reachability. So network reachability should be first requirement from your machine to the router on which you just want to run the program. If network reachability is not there, your Python script is not going to work. So here I'm just using the sandbox, that is a free of cost from the Cisco DevNet. So if you see that, if I'll try to ping this box, probably ICMP is not allowed, but let me just try to check if it is pingable or not. So you guys have to check. So it is not pinging, but when I'm trying to do the SSH, you can see it is accessible. So that is proving might be my ICMP is not allowed, but this box reachability I have. So you can see I'm able to log in this box. That means my PC can connect. My PC can connect to this box. If my PC is able to connect, that means my Python is also able to connect this box. So that is the second requirement. One is you have to install the NetMiko. That is the first thing. NetMiko should be the install on your directory of the Python. And the second thing, there should be reachability between your box, like your laptop, to the box or router switch where you want to use the Python script. So that we have to do. So now what I'm going to do on this Python, this box is supporting the Python. We know that, we already checked that. And we can run some script directly on the box. We can do that. Or I can connect this box through my Python tool. So that I can also do that. So I have already prepared some kind of the script here. So you can see that here is my first script. So you can just have to follow this script, what I have done in this script. So in this script, I'm talking from NetMiko to connect handler. So this is the NetMiko tool, we install that, and that the function they use to connect to the device, that is a connect handler. So by using the tool NetMiko, it is going to import and connect to connect handler by using the connect handler function. And which type of device we are going to connect, we are giving this all value in form of the dictionary. So my device is NXOS. So this is a Nexus. You can see NXOS is my device. So let me just go out again. And this is my NXOS device. And after going in this NXOS devices, I'm just trying to write, this is a Cisco IOS device type, and IP is this sandbox. So this is the same detail. I just copy from here. You can see that. So sandbox, NXOS, and this one, I can put the IP address or I can put the host name. So let me just, if I do the NS lookup of this box, I'll probably find the IP address. So I'm just going there and I just putting here. So see, this is the IP address. So if I put the IP address, it is going to work. If I'm going to put the FQDN address, fully qualified domain name address, it is also going to work because it is resolving by the DNS. So this is how I can basically put this IP detail, and then username. What is my username of this sandbox? That is admin. What is my password? That is my admin 1234 exclamation mark underscore 1234 exclamation marks. So that is going to put, and what port it is going to connect on the SSH. So this is the port number. Now these are the next script like net connect handler, and this is the NXOX, and then output need to be, I just want output that net connect send command, so IP interface brief. So I want to capture that output and store in the output command. I just want to print this output command. So what I am trying to do, let me just explain again. I just wanted to try to connect this sandbox by using the Python, which is running my laptop. Okay. And this box is NXOX. So I'm just defining the description, that is NXOX. I'm creating one of the dictionary. I'm putting the details, what inside of this dictionary. And by using this dictionary variables, this box is going to be connect. So inside of dictionary, I'm telling this is the IP address. This is the most important. This is my username. This is the password. And this is the port on which I am trying to connect. So once this value is going to be pushed through the Python, it is going to connect to NXOX. Okay. And then what output I want? I want, once it's going to connect, it capture the output. So IP interface brief of the box, and then save this output in output field and then print this output. So this is what I'm going to do that. So let me just, before going to run this command, let me show you guys. If I go on this box and if I run this command again, so IP interface brief. So you can see I have this much IP addresses on this box, and I should get the same value from the Python. So let me go on the Python. So this is my Python compiler output, and where this is my Python editor where I can put my program. So I'm just going to copy this program, and after copy this program, I'm just going to paste in my text editor. So you can see if I'm not using the text editor, probably I'll be having a problem while doing this program via this, Python, what I was doing on this, my command or CLI mode. Okay. So that's why the text editor is very powerful and you should use it, but you can quickly check some small program on this, CMD or PowerShell. So I'm saving this program, just save this program. And after saving, I'm just going to run this program. Once I run, what is going to happen? This Python is going to SSH to the sandbox, which are in the DevNet cloud, and try to reach by using this FQDN, fully qualified domain name, or I can put the IP address using the port SSH, that is 22, by helping the username and password, this one. So let me go there and just run this program. Already saved that. I'll go here and run this program. See, this box is trying to connect. This box is trying to connect, and see how quickly it is connected. You can see how quickly this program is connected to the box. Guys, this is a crazy thing. Through Python, we are now landed on the box. So you can understand the requirement need of Python in nowadays. I'm just running one set of the script. By running this set of the script, I get the output of this box that is somewhere in the cloud. But my Python is talking to the box. And I can do n number of tasks. This is just beginning. This is just a start. This is a start point how basically we can connect. So now you know how to connect the box. So let's verify, is it the same output I was in get in my box? So let's verify line by line. So see that we having a villain 100, we having a villain 100, 65, 165, 165, 201, 400, that all available. Last entry is 54, 55. So the same thing, I just wanted to get the output from the CLI of the box, but I can the same thing doing the Python. So let's think this way, how the Python is going to be helpful in this another way direction. Let's say suppose I have a one box. Now I just run this command by doing this Python script. Let's suppose I have a 500 box. I just wanted to capture this all output of the 500 boxes. So in manual process, what we have to do, I have to log in all the 500 boxes CLI, and then I have to capture that all output. But let's say suppose I just write one Python program for just Python program for all 500 boxes, and it could be saved for permanently in my directory, and I can run any time of this program, and I can get in one go all 500 boxes detail for the interface details. So this is the automation. This is the automation. This is the automation. Just note this work. So earlier we were doing the manual work for 500 boxes. So might be doing this one. 3 engineer is going to be required in a safe to do all capturing this information from 500 boxes. They have to log in each and every box. They have to run SOAP interface brief, SOAP interface brief, SOAP interface brief. All the engineers going to do this work. But if I want to automate it, what I have to know? I just know how to run the Python. If I know how to run the Python, I can just go and I just write one script for the one box. I can similarly write a one script for 500 box in one go. So might be this is the one box detail. So I can write this similarly 2 box detail, 3 box detail, 4 box with this my editor will be going to be full, completely very long, but this is my one-time effort. But whenever, like if I want 1,000 times this output, 10,000 times this output, I can get whenever I want on demand. I no need to depend on 3 engineer. I have to come in office and they have to run this command. This is the power of automation. And this is why it is required, just saving the effort, the manual effort. I have to just run the script, what I have already prepared, and they are going to just talk with the devices in one go, and they fetch the detail, whatever you want, and then you can generate your reports. This is how it is going to be helping in modern networking. That's why it is going to be very important. So now we understand this output. Let me write some other command also. So let me just try to run some command. So IP protocol summary. Let me see. So IP process. So this command, let me just try to execute from this Python. So I just copy this command. I'll just save this and just run this module. So whatever we can run the command on the router switches, the same thing we can execute and we can get the detail. You can see the same detail I'm getting, whatever command I'm writing. So let me say so IP OSPF neighbor. Do we have anything? No. So IP route. So we're having a lot of IP routes. So let me just run this command from the Python. I can run it. So I can go there. Just I will change this script. I'll just write this one, save, and this run this command. So this will give the real-time quick output. So you can see all routing information we are getting from this command. Similarly, we having another way. So the output we are learning here. So now we are just moving to a different topic now. Now we discuss more about the Python, but still we are going to discuss Python in continuation of this.
Can we connect two devices at a time right now?
Yeah, we can connect. We can connect two devices at a time. No problem with that. Just we have to put the variables details. Like you just find out the second device from the sandbox, which is the capable to run the Python. So I just identify one right now. Probably I have to identify a second one also. Then I have to compile the two script in same time, and then I can run. Okay, we can do that. We can do n number of devices, whatever you want. Just that device need to be support the Python and all. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So now I'm just going to move in different direction, but still we are going to talk the Python in between. That the language is called the JSON. Okay. So till now we discussed Python, lot of Python we discussed. Now we have to understand JSON. Why JSON is very important. So when we start doing the discussion about the JSON, that is the JavaScript object notation. So you just have to note this word, Java is script object notation. Okay. So this is the like one of the Java based programming language. So now you guys are a bit confused or might be asked the question, why this has been again introduced? Okay, if Python was doing everything, why this is again introduced in this, our router switches? So let me tell one story. So the story is behind of that. We are human, okay? We are human. And if we are human, we can understand unformatted data. Unformatted data. What that means, unformatted data? That means, let me just go and give this captcha. Okay. So if we are the human, if I am reading this captcha, probably you have seen in your real life network also, in real life world also, you having this captcha somewhere you found. So if even I'm reading this captcha, I can identify in this block one having a car, this block having some crossroad signals on the road, this block having one building, very tall building, I can see that. Even I'm able to find this block having the traffic signal light, you can see that. This block having some very heritage kind of building, old building, and this block have nothing. Data is not formatted, this is the unformatted, because this has been zigzag. But still human can understand, because they're having the power, they can easily understand and recognize the data that is even that unformatted. But if I say any machine, any of the machine, hey, just go and try to understand unformatted data, that is some not very format way, they probably going to be a struggle. They are not going to be understand. So the key things, machine only understand the data which is formatted data. So what is a formatted data? So data is a formatted, that means the machine can understand. So machine learning. So you just guys have understand about the machine learning. What is the machine learning? So that machine learning is the same concept. They understand the data which exactly they are formatted on their own language. Whatever data I'm saying on my router, whatever data I'm seeing my router, that is the human readable data. So IP interface brief. Human can read, but that data cannot be read by the machine. But what data machine can read? So let me show you. Machine understand the data that is known as JSON, JavaScript object notation. So this language machine understand. See, the same value, whatever the SOIP interface brief I have right here, same value it is giving in this format. This format machine can understand, but this format machine cannot understand. This format human can understand. If I try to understand this way, I am not able to understand. Probably I am just struggling to understand. This is something not for me. I'm not able to understand which interface is what IP address, but this machine is understanding. So you can see this machine is running the Python and JSON. Why it's understanding the Python? Python is very important to understand the program. JSON is very important to understand the Java data format. So whatever the output we are getting on this box, that is basically for the human readable, but that is data is going to be output from the JSON, that is for the machine understandable. So we having another command that probably we can use JSON pretty. So probably it is also machine language learning, but it can probably understand, human can also understand, because this data now, earlier data was the raw data, now it is a formatted little bit. This data has been formatted little bit, but this is the actual formatting machine understand. They understand the curly bracket, they understand the square bracket, they understand the columns, and then you can put the data. If you put this data, machine is not going to understand. It's going to just throw away. I don't know what is this, but human can understand. So hope you guys just understand what is the difference with the machine learning, machine understanding database of the router or switch, and human. So whatever the output we are running, like show run, that is basically made to understand by the human, not machine. Machine only understand if I run show run, if I put this command JSON pretty, that is going to understand by the machine. So this is the machine, probably be a very big output, so it is going to take time. So let's see. So this output, whatever going to come here, that is going to be understood by the machine. So now moving to the JSON. What is JSON? So see this output come again, and the complete show run output starts showing in this format, and this is understood by the machine. So see, you can see some data is also inside of the JSON is the XML format. So two format machine understand, that is the XML. You guys have seen that, and that is the JSON. So that both language we are inbuilt in our system. And the another things they using the data modeling, that is known as the Yang data modeling, that is going to be used in conjunction with the XML, and they are carried by the netconf or restconf. We are going to discuss more about these two protocols. So moving to the next, now what is the JSON? Now let's understand about JSON. What is the JSON? So I'm going to give you some hint. So let's say suppose this is my one of the car that is made by the Tesla. So when we start to understand the JSON, they having a proper formatting, and you guys just have to know how to encode the JSON formatting. In exam, probably it is going to come how to encode the JSON formatting and how we understand how JSON can be formatted in the data. So in this Tesla car, probably we having some key and value. So basically it use the key value pairs. So we have to use some key and we have to give some value, and based on that JSON is going to understand with proper formatting. And what is that formatting? I'm just going to tell, like we have to use the curly bracket, the square bracket, where that the double colon, comma, that should be wisely used in JSON formatting. If you don't know how to use where the curly brackets, where the square bracket, where the inverted comma, where the comma, that data is not going to be valid and machine is not going to understand. So you have to tell machine, hey, this is your format and I just put this data in your format, now understand. So machine is going to use their own logic, what they having a program, and try to compile that data on their program, try to validate the data you input to machine, is it correct or not? If it's fine, everything is correct, that is going to be acceptable. If not, it is going to reject. Hey, I'm not able to understand your data, what you're trying to push. So you should know in exam to identify which data type is correct, which data type is not correct. So the starting point, like in this Tesla car, who is the manufacturer? That is Tesla. What is my model? That is X model. What is my color? White. So what is the key? Key is the manufacturer. What is the value? Value is Tesla. What is the key model? What is the value? X. So I'm just asking the key and putting the value that are separated by colon. So most important. So every key and value should be separated by colon in JSON formatting. So fuel, electric, that is the most important thing. So let's again, I'm backing to my previous slide and let me show you guys this one formatting. So you can see that every value, whatever we have just entering this brackets, it is just separated by the colon. So the first thing you should understand, every key and value, key pair value, that should be separated by colon. So this is going to be separated by colon here. Now moving to the next. Once it is going to be separated by colon, now we have to understand where we have to use the single colon, like double quote, or we have to use the comma. So any value, whatever you are going to put, like this is my first name, Pankaj, that should be separated by colon. But the value, what I'm going to enter in the first name or key and pair, that should be always in inverted comma. See, my last name is Singh. That should be separated by the key and value is separated by the colon. Key and value is separated by colon. But the value, whether the key value or the actual value, right? Like last name is my key and this is my value. The key value is also in my double quote and my actual value is also in double quote. So that is the next thing. So all the parameters should be separated by column and then should be inside of the double quote. So let me just verify this in the real box. So you can see that the same thing, if I just wanted to see any of the interface, so you can see that interface name is the VLAN 100. Just I'm trying to demonstrate. The name of the interface is VLAN 100. So my key is the interface name that is inside of the double quote and it is separated by the colon. And now what is my value? That is a VLAN 100 and that is also part of the double quote. Okay. So now in this proper sentence, we understand the almost each and every value. We understand the meaning of the key like double quotes. We understand the value of the key and value and separated by the colon, but we don't know what that means, last comma. So let's try to understand this one. So moving the next. So there is the two term used in JSON data type. One is the object and the second is the array. So whenever we talk the object, that should just, you have to remember the curly brackets. Whenever we talk about the array, that you have to remember the square bracket. That is the first thing. So whenever you talk about the object, that should be the data structure, data type. In JSON, they are should be in the curly bracket or should be in the square bracket. If they are in the curly bracket, that call object data type. If they are in the square bracket, they call the array data type. Okay. So let me go on the box again. So you can see that this is my data. This is my data. So the full data, whatever I have, they are the object data type because they are starting from curly bracket and ending from the curly bracket. So this is my data value. So the first thing what we understand till now, we understand the key and value should be separated by the colon and they are should be in the double quote. And if they are in the data type of the object, they should be in the curly brackets. So till now we understand this. Okay. Let me know guys if you are not understanding this concept. Just raise your hand or ask the question in the chat. Now moving to the next thing. If key and value are separated by the colon. So now we are talking about the colon. Till now we didn't talk about the colon. So now we are talking about the colon. So now they are talking if key and value are separated by the colon, that means that is not last entry of the object or last entry of the JSON language. So you can see if I am something writing in my key value pair, I am separating this by colon, separating this by colon, separating this by colon, separating this by colon, separating by this by colon, separating this by colon, separating this by colon. But in last, I don't have colon. So if I am using the colon in first variable, key pair variable, that means I'm just going to enter the next value also. If I am using the next one also, then I'm going to use the next one, next. If I am not using this colon, that means I'm the last one. I don't have any value in the next. So the meaning of the colon is whenever you use the colon, that means you have to put a new variable also. But if you're not using the last program of this, like writing this last machine learning language on the colon, that means you are not going to use this further, any kind of the program. This is your last one. So this is what written in this slide also. So let me just read it again for you guys.
Colon or comma?
Sorry, comma, my bad. I really apologize for this. Not colon, comma. Comma, sorry for that. Sorry for correction. I really apologize for that. I talking a lot of things, so I forgot that. It should be comma, right guys? Not colon. Colon is this one, okay?
Sir, here is a bracket close for first one, and after we use comma. So this is the
I'll talk. I'm coming on that. I'm coming on. Just step by step, okay? Step by step. Till now, you guys understand till here to here, right? Till understand the meaning of the bracket, right? I'll discuss this one also, okay? I'll discuss. Nothing I'm going to untouched. I'm going to touch everything. Because this is a very important, probably in exam, you are going to get this kind of the program, and probably they will ask, hey, this program is correct or not. So you should able to identify whether this program is correct, this language JSON formatting is correct or not. So probably if given this, like this is a program you might find in exam, and you just find one colon here also, and now they ask, this is a right or wrong. So probably you'll be confused if you don't know what that meaning. So I'll discuss more about that.
It's similar like default after comma, and whenever close the tuple bracket, it's continue for next command.
I'm coming. You'll get answer soon. Just wait for 5 minutes more. Okay, you'll get answer soon. Okay, what you are asking, I'm understanding your presence. Okay, so let me just go next type. So let me just read this slide. So each key value pair is separated by comma. Okay, not the last one. You can see that, not the last one. Each key pair value should be separated by comma, but not the last one. Trailing commas must not be used. So last one, we are not going to use that comma. So this is the same thing they are talking. In last, we don't have any comma. Okay. So use the double quote, not single quote. So whenever you are writing the program, that should be double quote, not a single quote. If you are writing in single quote, that is not valid program. Okay. Or valid JSON language. You just think about this. Okay. So you just have to use a double quote, not a single quote. Boolean must be lowercase, different to Python. So what that means, Boolean must be in the lowercase. So whatever the Boolean you are just going to use, like condition based, that should be done lowercase. In Python, they might be used in the uppercase as well. So there should be the lowercase only. So let me just talk about the more. So we discuss about the object based. So whatever the data types in the curly brackets, that should be the object. So let's say this is my first data type, and I write this program or JSON formatting. Okay. So in this JSON formatting, what is happening? I'm writing my first name, last name, first name that is under the inverted double quotes and then separated by colon, and that is my last name that is separated by the comma, and the last name also that is separated by the comma. But my website like pankajsingh.com, that is the last entry that is not separated by comma. So this is how you can write the object one. Is it clear? So anything that is, and you can see that my bracket start from open and it is closed here, and I don't use any comma. So that means this is my single program. After this, I don't have to write anything. So the question you guys are asking earlier, why we use the comma here. So if I write a program, this one only, if I not use this one and just this one, that is my one program. Then after nothing program is going to be executed. So my machine will understand if I'm not using this bracket here after the object, they understand this is your final program and one program, and this is the final value I have to print. Next value it is not going to be entertained. But once you are going to enter this comma after this bracket, it going to understand, hey, something next going to become in the object data type. So you can see, let me show you guys, all the interfaces detail are separated by this object type by comma. You can see comma, comma, comma. But in last, see in last one, we don't have a comma and all brackets are closed. So in this last Ethernet 55, it is saying nothing is after than Ethernet 55. See, this Ethernet 55 was the last program we executed through the Python. And after that, we don't have anything, but till 54, we have a comma. So this is the meaning of the language, how it is going to be happen in the formatting way. Okay. So this is the call as a JSON object type data type. The next data type is called array. Okay. So now we are going to understand what is the array. So when we define the array, that means the ordered list of the value. This object database can be unordered. What I can put the first name, last name, whatever data I want to tell, I can put in the unordered value. But the array is something in proper formatting way. Like the data should be in the proper like ordered value. Okay. And they use a square bracket. Okay. And they can store multiple type of the data. They can store a multiple type of data, and based on that data we can use the numbers, boolean, object, and other array value detail, and we can execute that command. So how basically we can do that and what that means the array type. So let me just go on the again our data type, and you can see that now here we are just discussing the type of the booleans what we are using here. You can see that interface, if like I want to capture the row and table of this data, and I'm just going to use this one like interface detail that is used by the language of the JSON for the router switches. So you can see my bracket is started for the object data type. In this object data type, I'm calling the table info. What is my table info? That is the interface detail. But also I just wanted to capture that row info that is inside of the array. So data is going to be stored, whatever the similar data interface data is going to become, that is going to be installed in my array table, and that is going to be give as a output basically on this array table detail. So how basically it is going to happen? So you can see that my array table is started from this square box, and all the data of the objects of the interfaces are going to be stored in this array database. And then after you can in last, let me show you guys. In last, you can see that this is going to be closed, and then after our object is going to be closed. So let me show you in slide also we have something in array. Let me just try to demonstrate. So this we understand key value pair. Now data type error. So you can see added value using the square bracket, the same thing I just wanted to explain you. So the value just started from the curly brackets, and then we wanted to interface, and then after all the interface details. So what that means, all the interface details that we copy these tables, we wanted to store in the array format because they are the ordered data for the all interfaces, and that should be the copy in this proper formatting. And see, they started from the curly brackets, and once data has been stored in this array this square bracket for the all the interfaces, it is going to be closed. So this is how ordered value of the list. That means the all interface detail we are just going to store in this array data form, and that is going to be, run.
Sir, here he used the comma. Is it right? Prefix 10.1.100.1 after that. I think
No, this is not right. That should be not be the, this should be wrong one, not the right one. Okay. So because in the last object, let me show you guys, might be the slide is wrong. You can see that all the, you know, variables are just ended with the last prefix, that is the not comma. Okay. So coming to the again on the where we were starting our the connection. So I run this program, and based on this program, we just got the output that is based on the Python. But I want to get the output from this same program in this show interface brief in the machine language. So how I can run this program? So let me just go and run this program again, where I started the story. And let me go in the Python. Now, if I run this program and save this program again, and if I run that, the output what I'll get from the machine, that should be in machine language format. That is the JSON format, because I just use this command JSON pretty what I run the CLI. So you can see it's asking, this table is quite big. So you can see all the detail I can get from the Python script from the, you know, machine. So this is how basically we can do the different depend, and you can see the same formatting we are using, whatever we are getting from the CLI. So this is the way we can do the different depend of the connections. And similarly, if I want to print some kind of the interface detail, let's say suppose I want to not all the interface detail, I just want to print the first interface information, this one. So how I can write the program, and how can I basically use that? So same thing should be the same. The above command should be the same from here to here. Everything will be the same. The output is just going to be same. Just you have to change the, you know, JSON data type, that is the JSON load, and then from that data type you just have to print based on the table interface, which is that the here it is used by the, you know, one of the JSON formatting language that understand table and row, the function. By using this function, I want to print only row info, see, table info and the row info. I just want to use the 0 start from 1, so that they want to print the information and prefix detail. So you can say interface name should be there, and this is the prefix info. See, this is the prefix and this is the interface name that is inside of this formatting. So I want to print the 0 interface detail. 0 means that is the 1, and I want to print the interface name and the prefix detail only, not all. So how can I run? I just go this, copy this program. I go there and I just copy this program, and I just save this program, and I just run this program. So probably I'll find some output that actually I wanted to find. So you can see now it is just giving the detail. Interface is VLAN 100 and IP is this one. So let's verify. So this was our first IP. So you can see interface was the VLAN 100 and the IP was 10.1.1.2. So that specific detail I am getting through my program. But I want to check the second interface or the last interface. So if I want to change the second interface, I just put the value 1 here, and it will give the second interface detail. So let me just run this command again, and probably I'll get the second interface detail. So see, my second interface detail, it is showing that is a VLAN 165. So let me just verify this VLAN 165 with the second place or not. See, this is the second place. This is the 100 is first, second is the 165. Now let's say suppose I want to print the last one. So I just have to go there and I just put -1. I can put the number of the 50, whatever the sequence, I can just keep adding, or if I want to just push last, it can start from the -1. So from the reverse also we can do that, from forward also we can do that. So let me just run this command and probably see, it should be the show the Ethernet 1/55. See, Ethernet 1/55 detail is start showing. If I put the -2, that it is going to be show the second -1, that is the Ethernet 54. So it is going to show me. So let me run this command. So it is going to show me that in the interface detail also. So that is going to be happen. So this is your program is going to talk to the device, and based on the all detail, specific detail, you can just have to write the building the program, and you can write the program, you can using this program to demonstrate different things. So